What's going on, guys? It's another edition of the daily broadcast here from Wrestling Republic. It's Thursday, a throwback Thursday, as we like to call it. It's also a Super Bowl Thursday this week. It's also Thursday, February 9th. That was a lot of Thursdays in a row, and I did not plan it to go that way, but I'll tell you what, I got through it. And so, yeah, we got Super Bowl Thursday. Obviously, as you can see, me and my buddy Anthony are on opposite sides of the coin this week, but it's still all love here. We've got Chaos in the house. How are you two doing today?
I'm the mediator of this meeting right now because I know it's gonna be a lively weekend for you guys. But
there's been some trash talking videos back and forth between him and I.
For sure,
I'm sure that has been. But yeah, other than that, in terms of wrestling, I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk about AEW and everything else in the wrestling world. And yeah, let's get into it.
Stoked. And then today we're gonna go over Dynamite, of course, like as usual. And then when we get to the end, we'll do the Throwback Thursday segments. We're gonna be talking Halftime Heat, which I'm excited about. I think the three of us know about Halftime Heat. That's a classic. And then even the commercial, we'll get into that, and then maybe we'll give our picks for the big game. But that's not the big news. The big news coming out of last night was AEW Dynamite. We've got MJF versus Konosuke Takeshita. I think we got it yesterday. Takeshita. Thank you, Takeshita. Konosuke Takeshita. Early on the card, I personally, I'll give my opinion really quick before I toss it to you guys. I thought the match was impressively good. I think Takeshita impresses me every time he's in the ring. MJF, I'm starting to no longer underestimate Bell to Bell. He's kind of, it's easy to look and go, because he's so good at promos, oh, well, he's not as good bell to bell. No, he's really good bell to bell. And last night I thought that was the case. Maybe I wanted to see him go longer, right? Than maybe 13 minutes leading into a 60-minute Iron Man match, but he was also involved later on the card. But I wanted to get you guys' thoughts as a whole. What did you think of the opener and then MJF's performance in the match? We'll get into the promo stuff maybe a little bit later, but we'll start with you, Anthony. What were you thinking?
I think it was an interesting choice to make that the opening match. I'm actually kind of relieved only because the concern is always AEW tends to have a difficult time timing shows, and it would either been rushed. I thought 13 minutes was pretty decent for this. And I agree with you. MJF has always been underrated in the ring. He's always been the promo guy. And I think a large part of that is he really doesn't wrestle a lot of matches. It's mostly promos with him. And I think since he's won the title, I think the focus, whether it's with this match or eventually with Danielson, I think the goal is to show that, no, he can go bell to bell. He is the full and complete package. He's not just a promo guy. I thought that was smart. I think, busting his opponent open adds to his, he's nervous about, and you had said this to me privately, Clark, that MJF is probably nervous that he may lose the title to Danielson, and he's taking it out on anybody he can. He was forced into this match. So, it makes sense. I don't know if this rivalry with him is going to continue or not. I would assume there probably at least be one more, I would guess, but I don't know. And then, eventually he'll face Danielson at Revolution.
Absolutely. And Chaos, what were your thoughts on the match? For sure.
It was very solid from MJF. I mean, it's obviously when we last did the daily show, which was yesterday, my call was that it was going to be this. Everyone was thinking it was going to be a 10-minute, 15-minute match. I thought they were going to go the opposite way. I thought it was going to be like he's going to charge in and just do an instant low blow, instant disqualification, and that was it. Simply because MJF did not ask for this match. They did this while they were mid-brawling backstage. He didn't ask for it. If it's not something that he agrees upon, he usually finds a way to weasel out of it. But they gave us a good showing. And yeah, this definitely further solidifies like his wrestling style in terms of I like how he cherry picks when he wants to, you know, show how great he is. Because yeah, people think if he's just good at his promo work, his in-ring work is probably just kind of like, just in the words of MJF, mid. But the way he does it and just comes up with this crazy randomness of great athleticism definitely lends a hand to and it brings longevity to his character, because you don't know what he's capable of, unlike where other wrestlers, they pretty much have their whole move set in almost every match and there's nothing really new to him. But yeah, like when he did the counter to the Spanish fly off the top rope was just great. Loved it. The great back and forth that he had with Konosuke was great. And yeah, just the finish was solid as well. So yeah, it's just another nice layer to MJF. I'm sure we'll go into the promo afterwards and what we thought of that. But yeah, very solid opener. I'm no complaints.
For sure. And I loved what you said about the random displays of athleticism. I think that's kind of what makes MJF so gnarly is, to your point, you're not exactly sure what he's capable of, right? Like you're not exactly sure how good because he will take every shortcut, and he proves that character work wise in such a brilliant way. We're almost not even used to that level of not necessarily work, but like character development. And I think that's where sometimes the criticism comes from, because all three of us are kind of in agreement. Like, the guy can go. He's proven that for sure. And I think that even goes back to Dog Collar, his work against Jericho. But at the same time, to see it again on TV and against a young talent, that's a kind of a different animal. But either way, moving along, let's actually skip straight to kind of the middle of the Dynamite card. Let's talk Bryan and Rush before we talk necessarily the MJF promo stuff. Bryan and Rush, I thought, was actually the match of the night. That's my personal opinion on this one. I thought bell to bell. I mean, Bryan can wrestle anybody. We can say it a billion times. We're beating a dead horse at this point, but kind of so can Rush. And this was, I thought this may have been Rush's best singles match, bell to bell, in AEW. And I'm not shocked by what Bryan did, but he just never disappoints. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this one. Chaos, I'll go to you first. How did you feel about that match and what it meant even to the working towards, we'll talk about the MJF promo next, but what came after that?
Yeah, I thought the match was very solid. I mean, the whole gauntlet, you know, all matches were great with Danielson, him against Brian Cage, him against Bandito, him against I think probably the weakest one I didn't really enjoy much, simply because of the style it was probably him against Timothy Thatcher. But all of them have been great. Rush, I know he's definitely is very solid, very great. And the innovative finish at the end was cool as well. The fact that he actually kicked out of his psycho knee was crazy. In terms of I don't know if we're actually going to delve into it, but as a whole, as a story, it definitely hasn't been the strongest. If I think because of the fact how telegraphed it is, I think that kind of takes you out of it in a way. Obviously, some people like simple storytelling. And you know, that's fine, fair play and everything, but because I think we spoke about it before as well, is that it's because of the tropeness out of it, it's kind of tricky to appreciate the greatness in these matches, simply because you know the end game and how it's just going to lay out. So it's a bit tricky, but if you put all of that aside, in terms of this match itself, very solid. Is it the best out of the series? Maybe it's for me, it's between that and maybe in Brian Cage. Maybe I really liked the Brian Cage match, but yeah, it delivered for what it was. I didn't like the beginning with him being locked out. Didn't really like that, or locked in his locker room or whatever that was. A bit cheesy, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. What'd you think, Anthony?
To me, like Roosh has always been that guy, and the first time I saw him was in Ring of Honor. He's always been kind of hit and miss for me. I think he kind of needs the right opponent, but I completely agree with you, Clark. That to me was the match of the night, and probably the best match I've ever seen out of Roosh, honestly. So I thought it was a hard hitting match. I enjoyed that. Brian being busted open and just the pure beatdown that he got. There was one point in the match that I noticed, particularly Brian had Roosh in the corner and he was chopping him and he was kicking him. Roosh wasn't selling any of it, which I thought that kind of that annoyed me a little bit, and that's always been a problem with Roosh. Where
it's a really good eye, Anthony. Too, by the way, I agree.
He wants people to sell for him, but he doesn't sell much for anybody else. And that's always been a problem that I've had watching Roosh. I mean, as a whole, though, I thought it was a great match. And to piggyback on what Chaos said, that's been a problem in AEW where they do one thing, in this case, the series of matches to get to this guy. And when it works one time, they just keep doing it. And they've been doing it a lot. And it is predictable of going, you almost kind of want them, okay, do it and have the guy fail to achieve it. Because now it's too predictable. It would be the same way with WWE with the Rumble. The Rumble winner always winning at Mania. Okay, well then what's the point? Granted, there are a higher percentage of Rumble winners winning it, but they don't all win it. Same thing that not all the Money in the Bank winners win it.
Yeah.
I think you need to change it up if you're going to go this route, which I wouldn't agree with doing this constantly with like they're doing. But if you're going to do it, mix it up.
Yeah. Well, I was just to talk piggyback off that. I think obviously everyone's argument is to what happened with the JAS gauntlet regarding Ricky Starks and them. But the difference is in terms of storyline, that no one cares about that. And I don't know. And it wasn't. I guess it's not as major. But yeah, I think that definitely because of the storyline with that is also weak. It didn't really pay off in that respect. If am I making sense? It's just like
absolutely.
It was just it just didn't really help in that. Sure, we got it later on in the night, but again, it's still tropey. You still made it happen. And the payoff was not that great either. And it's for a pointless storyline or a dead storyline, should I say. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
And this is like the third time they've done this, because even Jericho went through this to reach, was it MJF at the time?
CM Punk got it with MJF.
Well, so that's where, while we're on this topic, guys, like let's talk about the JAS gauntlet, but more importantly than that, even because we all saw what happened. And I mean, Ricky Starks took the loss. I loved the Jericho reveal. It was fun. It was absolutely fun. And it was kind of shocking because, right, we all expected Starks to run the gamut and win. I thought going in. That was the expectation. So I actually did enjoy the fact that they pulled the flip on us. Every now and again, you got to pull the rug out. And I knew it was Jericho. You saw the body language the second he stepped over I mean, come on. He back. My favorite was the sell by the announcers, though. I got to give him credit.
I had a laugh with that.
I wasn't sure if it was Shivani or Excalibur, but they went, he hit him with a back elbow. I'm like, well, who uses a back elbow?
No, the kicker was, I don't even think they said back elbow. Great. I think they straight up went Judas effect. I'm like,
no. They said back elbow. That was what cracked me up. I was dying over that. It was like an MMA call. He was like, "Oh, you hit him with a back elbow." I'm like, "That's funny." What else would you call a back elbow? Like, the Judas effect. Yeah. But either way, I still actually found the segment entertaining, and in a roundabout way, it was funny. I watched it with my dad, and he said, "Oh, well, wait a minute. Now we really want Starks Jericho." Because he's more casual. And I was like, I didn't think of it that way. It's like, well, right. As much as it should have been, it was like, now what? Like now come on, Ricky's got to get his comeuppance. He got screwed, and it's classic wrestling there. And so it's funny, as much as I saw it criticized kind of around the internet today, but I was like, that was one of the few segments I didn't have a problem with. Now back to the people having to run through hoops in AEW as baby faces to get the heels. As you guys had mentioned in the conversation right before this, am I on the same page as you two? Come on. Like, we've seen Jericho Nick Gage as a baby face randomly, and in Jericho Bandito, and Bandito seems to be an opponent in all of these scrums since he's been signed. Poor Bandito just like gets a main event chance every time somebody has to run through a gamut.
He's a rent a gamut character.
Yeah, it's just he's like it's like Brian Cage too for that matter. But like, yeah, I mean, I was stunned we didn't get Archer and Danielson. I can't believe that. That they kept that one off TV. But yeah, did you guys have any other thoughts on the gauntlet to add to that?
No, I mean, Ricky Starks has been somebody that I've been watching since I believe the NWA is the first time I saw him. I might have saw him on a previous indie show, and I always thought he had a lot of talent. So I am glad that they are pushing him. I loved his promo when he went up against MJF. I thought that was a phenomenal promo. So I do want to see them push him more. I would love to see them give him a belt at some point, whether it's the TNT instead of playing this game, whatever the heck they're doing with Samoa Joe, where he's got all the belts. I would like to see him. I mean, you could even do him against Orange and have it take the belt off of Orange, because I think
about that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, to me, I think Ricky, he's got a lot of talent there.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of talent, and they could do more with him than what they have done with him.
100%.
You agree with that, Chaos? Because I do too. I actually think Starks might be they talk about the pillars. They talk about the active, who's the future, the homegrown talent and whatnot. If MJF, we're not going to get into this bidding war of 2024 debate at all. But hypothetically, if MJF is a long-term AEW star and you're going to build him as the guy like this, to have a babyface to stand up to him, I think Ricky Starks, of who's available currently, is the best candidate to stand on the other side of the microphone, to stand on the other side of the ring. I don't know if he needs to put on a little bit more muscle or not. I do think his in-ring work is outstanding. I think look-wise, MJF has changed his body in a way where MJF is bigger and stronger than he was when we first saw him. If Ricky can do something similar to that, I think, and I'm not saying Rock Austin, I didn't say that. And I'm sure Ben will clip this because I just said Rock Austin, but that could be your Rock Austin right there. Would be that if I was picking anybody to stand opposite MJF right now, based on the roster, based on youth, based on charisma, and based on in-ring ability, I'm hard pressed not to pick Ricky Starks. And I'm a huge Hangman Page guy. That is not to say Hangman Page doesn't play a role in that, but Ricky Starks has something really, really special with the audience. And I think, if you can build upon that, he might, to stand across from Max on the mic. I think he's maybe the only one I could think of that can truly handle that.
No, and I agree with you. And I think one of the interesting parts of that is they're both Cody Rhodes guys.
Ironically, yes. How do you feel? How do you feel about that one, Chaos?
That they're Cody Rhodes guys?
No, all of it, just like the whole thing, across the board.
Oh yeah, no, Ricky Starks can be one of the faces of the company. And that's the thing. That's the thing I like about AEW compared to WWE. Only one person can be at the mountaintop in terms of being the company guy, whereas AEW, they have the potential to have 3, maybe 4 people at the top. And Ricky Starks is one of them. MJF is obviously definitely the main guy for that. But yeah, if they build him up correctly, he definitely does need a worthy title. I completely forgot about the title that Orange Cassidy's having him, because 99% of the time it's on Rampage, and
it's kind of Rampage
people watching Rampage. So that's why I completely forgot about it. So if you want to bring some relevancy for a title that didn't necessarily need to exist, put someone like that Ricky Starks on there, and since he's prominent on on Dynamite, that will bring some relevancy and some legitimacy to that title. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you guys. Ricky Starks can be easily one of the next top stars, beside, next to MJF, 110%. Because yeah, he's one with the crowd. Like, he won them over during that, like I said, that promo with MJF. I think that definitely solidified him. But yeah, just at the end of Team Taz, that's when I started to warm up to him a bit more, and then saw that this guy is definitely the next thing for sure.
And honestly, to build upon your point there on the Team Taz thing, I thought the brilliance of his separation from Team Taz compared to the rest of the people when Team Taz kind of dissolved at the end, the way that they actually gave him the angle to leave Team Taz, I think made that was one of AEW we can, criticize for booking, but from time to time for sure. But I think that was a smart move, is to give him a true separation from Team Taz storyline. And I think that's what even was the catapult for him to be the babyface he's become. Also, by the way, that was my old buddy, my fraternity brother, Andrew Havorka. I'll see you in Vegas in a few weeks, my friend.
Nice.
Monster shout out to Hovey. But yeah, and so let's move along from Starks and the JAS. As great as it was, little interesting match as it was what it was. But we had Bunny and Hater. I said yesterday on the show that I'm a huge fan of the Bunny. I think she's absolutely bell to bell talented. I think she's charismatic. The look is off the charts. The facial expressions are off the charts. I haven't really understood why she hasn't gotten a bigger push. And I loved they mentioned on commentary last night, she won the first singles match in AEW history, women's singles match. She won it. And as a talent, I think she's great. I actually thought she looked good against Hater, even though it was a bit of a tweener match between matches that were pushed harder as far as promotionally speaking, given more time. It was shorter. I also thought there was a long time during that match where they did not show the ring. I think the Bunny may have been injured, and wish the best as a performer in that regard. But I want to get you guys' thoughts on the match as a whole. I don't know that there's a rivalry beyond this, but what do you think about Hater? There was some awkwardness also. This is the real subject here, guys. There's the awkwardness at the end of the match with Dr. Britt and I believe Rebel walking up the ramp together, or Hater. It's all three with Hater at the end when they show the Leva Bates segment. And then they pan back and they're still walking up the ramp. That was one of the oddest spots of all of Dynamite for me. But what did you think of the whole thing? And yeah, let me get you guys' thoughts. Who wants to go first? You guys, Anthony, you ready?
No. I agree with you. I do like the Bunny. It's one of the problems. AEW has a number of talents, and goes on both the men's and women's side. And I understand you have very limited TV time, so you can't feature everybody. But they have these periods where you don't see people for a while. And I get it. They'll put them on Dark and Elevation. No one watches those. Same thing with Rampage. To a lesser degree compared to the other two. So, I mean, it was nice seeing the Bunny again. I hope she's not injured. I know with the Hater thing, I guess they're building towards an originals versus new people, or I think isn't that the whole topic that they're trying to go for with that?
I think that's maybe the general idea they're working towards.
Yeah, I mean, that's the impression that I get. But yeah, I mean, this was not the best match on the card for me, but
for sure. Chaos, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Bunny has such a bad luck, because I'm pretty sure this is the second time where she hasn't been on TV and she comes back and then she's pretty much back on the shelf again. It was a hard-hitting match. There was some crazy ass spots in certain points. And then it was weird because when that nasty bump happened, the move prior to that, it was the same move. So it wasn't like Hater surprised her with a new thing. It was an overhead snap suplex type of move. She did it in one corner, and she did the exact same thing before, but for some reason it looked like somehow it was a miscommunication, but she basically sandbagged it, and then there was some collision somewhere. And I watched it when it was on Fight TV, so I think that's the UK one. So that when that happens, there's no ads. So when they say see this in picture, we don't get that. It just carries on straight. So I don't know how it was for you guys or anything like that, but what was it back up? Was it on the air? Like, was it back from commercial when the actual injury happened?
So they didn't show the ring though during the injury time. That was the interesting thing, is they didn't show anything related to a potential injury.
All I do remember when obviously when Hater won, they showed the replay, and then you did see Bunny and Penelope Ford. They went down, the side.
Right.
They didn't go up the ramp. They went to the side.
Right,
if you look at the back, and then that's when it was going backwards, and you saw that weird promo, and then for some reason.
And cutting back to them was so odd. Yes, exactly. Right, Chaos.
I think they were just burning time. Like I said, I think that match was definitely scheduled to go a bit more. And then luckily Hater called an audible, protected her while she was doing that, the lariat, and then but you could see that Bunny was in immense pain. So but we still haven't heard anything back yet. So we'll see how it is. But it was,
and wish the absolute best for Bunny for sure. Like
100%.
No question. Yeah, like and also, like, we're not sure exactly what happened, but it was go Chiefs. That's my buddy DJ Hyden right there in the chat. But yeah, Tuna, as I call him, got him. Connor Maholand, all the boys are in the chat. How about you guys? Look at this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm definitely supporting the
He's from Philly. Give him a break there, Tuna.
What they call the Kansas City Lieutenants?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Oh, and it's the Philadelphia Falcons, right?
The Eagles.
Okay, now I'm just playing with you. I know what they are. I just want to usually that irate NFL team.
Hey, I grew up in America. I'm like, this, dude.
I love the 68ers.
Removed.
I love the 68ers. Yeah, definitely like those.
Yeah, the 68ers for sure. Oh, that's all time. That is so gold. Oh my goodness. Okay, no, but let's move along from the women's division, and as great as it was last night, let's go the trios titles. That's going to be our potentially last Dynamite topic of the night. Chaos called it for match of the night. I earlier said Brian and Roosh. This to me would be 1B. There's 1A and 1B, not second best match of the night, 1B. Because they were both equally off the charts. That's the way I saw it. I loved it. I made a Cirque du Soleil reference yesterday. Dude, who are these guys? I've known the Buck for years and stuff, but like the amount of athleticism, and I've seen enough of AR Fox to know how good he is, but he impressed me as much as either of the Martins did. AR Fox looked outstanding. The cutter spots, the dives, every bit of it. My dad kept going, this has to be choreographed. And I'm like, not exactly. Like when we're watching it together, he's like, this has to be choreographed. I'm like, I don't think that's exactly how it works, Dad. It's not. He's like, it's just ridiculous. He's like, somebody's going to get hurt. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like that's these 6 guys. Like they're that freaking good. They are. Like, say spot fest all you want. I wouldn't even call that a spot fest. I think they're that elite level of athletes that they're telling a story by doing that type of stuff because they're capable of it. And why not? It was entertainment off the charts, but I obviously want to get both you guys' thoughts. Chaos, did it live up to your expectations or no?
So first off, just I want to start off with this. I did do a little recap on this match. I did a little filming of Ticket to the Table earlier with fellow guests of Versus Republic, Soul and Ignacio. And yeah, I just wanted to say, obviously, with when we asked him about Ignacio about the match, if you know Ignacio, you know what he's gonna say. He thought it was absolute flippy doodahs, and how does anyone enjoy this? It's worse than cancer or something. It's just worse. It was like just, and I was just like,
bite.
Oh yeah,
what is this guy on? It was like I said, I called it was going to be match of the night. I stand by that. It was crazy elite level athleticism, no botches. It was awesome counterattacks, awesome, innovative ways of doing the Meltzer driver. AR Fox's inverted 450 as well was freaking sweet. The chemistry was it was just incredible. I love Top Flight. I think they could definitely be as big as the Acclaimed, in my opinion, if done right and done correctly. Yeah, they just didn't. They looked like they didn't miss a step. Clearly the focus is on the trios titles more than the tag team titles, in my opinion. But yeah, they kind of proved why, and yeah, absolutely loved it. I have no complaints. A bit of a slow start at the beginning, but they were building it up. But yeah, awesome ending, and yeah, and the counterattacks with the pins as well was great as well. So that's what I can say.
No doubt. Anthony, how did you feel? I mean, did you feel the same way about the match?
I mean, it was a high-flying match, and it's kind of what I expected. For me, I preferred Bryan and Rush. I mean, they're two different styles of matches, and I think you kind of fall into one or two categories. Either you really like the style of the Bucks type match, or you hate it, or I feel like you're one or the other. So for me, I don't instantly love all their matches, but there are times where they do have matches that I do enjoy. I'm not, of the mindset of going, no, I hate all of them. There are certain ones I do like, and I did like last night. I thought it was a solid, high-flying match. I didn't think it was too overdone because they do have a history of that.
Yes.
So, those type of matches I'm not crazy about, but last night I thought worked. I thought it was a nice showcase of everybody involved in it.
No doubt. And I hear where you're coming from on that. I don't know. It's funny to me. As much as Kenny Omega kind of gets looped into that group, I feel like he's so dang good because Kenny sells. As much as people like to say he doesn't, that was one thing I noticed last night. Kenny does sell.
Yeah.
Kenny's a great seller. In fact, Kenny's an underratedly really good seller, and that's not a knock on the Bucks, who he's partners with. But Kenny had, and I clocked it during the whole match, he had the two best sells of the night, and one even popped my dad. He bounced 4 feet off the canvas on an arm drag and made it look just absolutely thunderous, and it was a pretty stock arm drag. It was really cool, and sometimes I kind of forget just how good Kenny can be. And adding him to the Bucks, that's I think why I was so actually wowed by last night's match. On top of the work from AR Fox, to me almost stole the show. The inverted 450, as Chaos pointed out, I was like, that's a choice. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that's right. Wait a minute. He's got that in his repertoire. Okay. Okay. I didn't see that coming. Right. Like, it's one thing to see Ricochet flip 1,000 times. AR Fox is not a small dude.
Oh, Ricochet versus AR Fox, if we could ever have that.
You kidding me? Are you kidding me? It would be off the charts. I think Dante AR Fox, even though they're on the same team right now, come on.
Anything with Dante is instant for me. I'm sorry. I love that guy that much. I'm sorry. He's just incredible.
Dante's no-brainer for me as well. Anthony, what are your thoughts on Top Flight though as a whole?
I mean, Top Flight. I was going to say as far as Ricochet and AR Fox, I wouldn't be 100% positive, but considering how long they were both on the Indies, I'm sure that match had to happen somewhere.
I didn't think.
And it happened in Lucha Underground, didn't it? Different names, but it happened there, didn't it?
Is producer Kobe listening to the lecture, or can you?
As far as Top Flight though, was Top Flight, I think they definitely have a future if done right. I kind of agree with Chaos, and if you promote them correctly, they could get over. I don't know if they Acclaim level because of the mic stuff. I don't know about that, but they could definitely elevate themselves to a higher tier than they are now in AEW.
Well, and to your point, Anthony, and I'll let Chaos respond too, but not even respond, but just but the tag team division, there's actually kind of room for some contenders, right? We've seen some of the bigger, right? For years, we were talking about how stacked the AEW tag division is, right? And then suddenly now we're in a spot where no more Jurassic Express, Proud and Powerful nowhere to be seen, right? Darby and Sting aren't a full-time tag team. They do tag together, but it's not the same. Private Party aren't what they were booked as early in their careers. I don't know.
The Bucks moved over.
Yeah, Bucks moved over to the trios. But yeah, but by the way, before we I didn't even just realize the time where we're at, but we got to go to throwback time. I think we've covered Dynamite, guys. Unless anyone's got one last final take there, but
I just want to say we're going quickly on the tag team title match. I feel that was not the best call to make, especially how they went around it. Again, we as I spoke to Ignacio and Soul regarding the how they went about it. It was very, and Ignacio pretty much nailed it on the head. Funny enough, he said it was very WWE-esque with the ref bump and then shenanigans upon shenanigans. Very unlike AEW just to get to this point. I did expect the Guns to eventually win the titles, but just the way it happened, and it was very weird. Even the crowd wasn't really into it. That kind of took the wind out of it as well. And clearly they didn't agree with it at the end because they were chanting BS at the end. I'm not against them winning the titles because, somehow the tag team division has dried up. And like I said earlier, the focus right now is on the trios titles right now, more than anything. So yeah, the Guns were probably the best option. Was it now, considering how they've been built up and whatnot? I don't think it was the right time, especially throwing it away on a random episode of Dynamite. I don't see why they couldn't have waited till Revolution. I just felt like this was just like a, just to create a shock factor. So yeah, those kind of elements kind of soured my thoughts on that match. But yeah, that's one the other way. If you guys agree with the
okay, no, number one. First of all, that was the move of the Century Chaos because you did exactly what I should have done, which was not skip a topic, and we're going to go extra time because I don't even. That's ridiculous. How do we not cover the freaking main event? The title change on the card. What was I doing as a host? That's the host of Take It to the Table Chaos right there, just picking me up. I owe you one. I owe you. That was awesome. And so we're gonna go ahead and go into the main event.
I didn't mean to. I thought that's what you was talking about prior.
The exact right thing. I didn't even. Woof. Happy Thursday afternoon, my friends. Sorry.
I appreciate you guys letting me rant on that.
That was key. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, we almost didn't cover the main event. So yes, to Chaos's point, I'm with him on all of that. Like, why there? Why then? I thought it was wild how live on air they played the Acclaim's entrance music to finish the show. Like, what?
It was all over the place.
It just seemed so weird. Anthony, I know you're chomping at the bit. What did you think about the main event?
I was surprised they did the change on the Dynamite. I kind of felt, okay, if they're going to do it, is Billy going to side with his kids? Like, I kind of felt like when they eventually do it, he's going to side with his kids. Mm-hmm. Like, that was my thought. The one thing that, and I'm not 100% certain on this, but I felt that the finish of the match with, and I don't remember which gun it was, used the tag title to
one with the ponytail.
Yeah, I don't know. Which, Colton or Austin. I don't know which one it is.
Austin is the one with the cut hair. Colton is the one with the.
Okay. Got it. Cool. Got
it. Colton's taller.
I thought that finish was reminiscent a lot of the Outlaws. That's something the Outlaws would do to win titles or retain titles. Because I remember when they feuded with the LOD, I'm pretty sure they used something to that effect.
That is a great call. I did not think of that last night.
I made the connection of going, that's very New Age Outlaw-y, what they just did there, which didn't surprise me, knowing who the father is. So I thought that was the connection that I made. I was surprised. I'm assuming Revolution, there's going to probably be a rematch, and that's when Billy will officially side with his kids, I'm guessing. I think they did it last night pretty much just to swerve people and to try to bring attention of going, oh, you should watch Dynamite. You never know what's going to happen. I think that's what the attempt was done, why it was done, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny that you say that because I did not think of it that way, but I also like the only thing that bugs me about it is, look, the Guns, yes, they're brothers, but they're booked as the Guns, and I was actually kind of laughing because they were the kind of the Gun Club before at one point and stuff, and they're just the Guns now. It reminded me of like the Smoking Guns, Bart and Billy back in the day.
Although no one calls
Obviously,
them the Guns.
not real brothers. Yeah, no one calls them the Guns, but just them being billed as that.
Yes.
And with the matching trunks and such clearly brothers, that's the only thing that bothered me is like the charisma doesn't match the New Age Outlaws level, not match. Like it's not even close. In fact, I would argue that the Acclaimed are closer to New Age Outlaws than, in that regard, especially with Caster's work on the mic and whatnot. It makes a lot of sense. But either way, I was disappointed in the result myself for sure. I'm kind of with you on that. Chaos. It didn't seem like the time or the place.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was bound to happen, but just the way it went, it was just that whole ending. It was so weird, and the crowd was dead during the whole of it. Like it just sucked the whole atmosphere out of it. So
the pinfall was odd. the way it happened, like
there was some mistimings. There was a point where literally Colton was outside. He could have easily pulled out no, he could have pulled out one of the guys that was pinning the Acclaimed was pinning. I think it was Austin.
Was it Bowens?
Sorry? Yeah, I think it was Bowens. Yeah.
Yeah, Bowens took the pin.
That's right.
Bowens took the pin.
Yeah, Bowens took the pin, but I'm saying that Bowens was pinning one of the Guns.
Yes.
Yeah. But then Colton was outside. He could have done it at any time, but for some reason he just stood there until the ref actually counted 1 and 2 and then done it. And that was during the slow count. So it was
and they gave the wide shot to your point, right? So like, why even right? It's one thing if he's out of the camera, but he's in the camera.
Yeah, it was really weird.
That's the production people on that.
Yeah, and no, I'm with you. I did not love the finish of the match, but then let's finally get into our throwback topics.
Yes.
It's Super Bowl weekend. So, do we all remember halftime heat? I'm gonna let Anthony take this one over. Lay the land for us.
Yeah, I mean, halftime heat, they've only done 2. A lot of people probably watching this remember the one in 2019, which was the NXT 6-man tag one. But for me, if someone mentions halftime heat, I immediately think of Rock versus Mankind in the empty arena match. That's the one that if that gets mentioned, that's where my head goes. I remember the NXT one, but that's not the one that comes to mind instantly. It was the match that, it's the first empty arena match that I remember watching. And, I just remember the Rock and Mankind, they beat each other. I don't even remember what arena they used for it. That I don't remember. And I forgot to look that up before the show.
It's the Tucson Convention Center.
Tucson.
Yeah. My bad.
It's Arizona. Okay,
and ironically, by the way, which is in Arizona, and the Super Bowl this year is also in Arizona.
Oh yeah.
So, but
just like that year,
it had a really bizarre finish in the sense that Mankind somehow used a forklift to pin the Rock and win the title. But again, it was Russo era, Attitude era booking that they did that stuff. And as a kid, you're like, this is tremendous. Mick Foley with now you might crap all over it as a more experienced person, but it worked at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember that. It wasn't a super long match because again, they had to do it within the halftime window that they had. So,
it's 20 minutes. It was actually 17 minutes, 19 seconds. Yes.
And so I think they know that the Super Bowl halftime show is 35 minutes to the minute. So that's
Yeah.
And it
why
wasn't
they
live,
did it
and
that
it wasn't
way.
live either. It was
Right, it was taped. That was
So,
a
yeah.
genius. It was a genius move.
Yeah.
Because I actually remember, and not to even take over on this, but
No, go.
we had a Super Bowl party at the house with like a bunch of family and friends and everything. And I was a young kid. I was 99, correct? So
Yes.
I was about 8. And I
Yeah.
just remember it's about like 5 minutes before halftime. Someone was like, "What about halftime heat?" And we had like maybe like it was like kind of like me and all the guys, like a few of the cousins, uncles, my dad, and like,
Yeah.
and actually my mom ended up, she's a wrestling fan too, going upstairs to watch as well. And everybody else watched the musical act downstairs, and we went up and watched halftime heat in the other room. And yeah, I mean, I remember at that time even recognizing The Rock's charisma. I think it was the first time I realized how big The Rock truly was going to be. Not that I could have projected that at 8 years old, but like, this guy's the star, because I so expected him to win. And it was kind of where he went from just the, you know, I saw Rocky Maivia, I saw Nation of Domination Rock. That was when he became like The Rock to me.
Well, another level
truly.
performer. Yes.
Even losing that match in the empty arena, the entertainment value and during the Super Bowl was so off the charts, and such an innovative concept, really, if you think about it. I mean, look at how many other people have tried to do alternative Super Bowl halftime shows. The list is endless there, right? And that's one of the most iconic ones, and maybe the best. But the biggest takeaway for me was it was really cool Foley got to win that one. And it's really cool because it's not The Rock's true coming out party, but it's where you can start to see how big of a draw he actually may become, right?
Yeah.
You can see the seeds planted.
I'm surprised they've only done 2 of these halftime heats. And remember, this was Foley winning the title. And if I'm remembering correctly, that led into the I Quit match at the Rumble.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Iconic I Quit.
No,
match.
it had to be. Was it?
No. It's
No, it had to be after.
the opposite.
Yeah, it had to be
the
after.
I Quit match was the I Quit match was before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chaos, did you watch that match by chance as a kid?
I ain't gonna lie, because I got into wrestling around 2003.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a late bloomer, but I have seen the highlights. I do know about this man. I do remember. I've seen the bit where he pins him with the forklift and whatnot. That was freaking hilarious.
It's classic.
It really is. It fits with Foley. That's why it worked. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm very surprised. In a way, I am surprised, and I'm not surprised that they don't do this as often, because I know for a fact anything involving the Super Bowl is freaking expensive. And with them, they're very frugal when they want to be. So yeah, I was very surprised when they actually did that one in 2019. I think it was a tag team match, wasn't it?
6-man tag.
6-man tag. Yeah.
6-man tag.
And it was at a performance center, which was even more weirder. But I would love to see them do these a bit more. But I mean, what would people rather see? Wrestling or Rihanna or 50 Cent hanging upside down? You know what I mean? So
it really does depend on the halftime show too.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would depend too, and I don't know what I don't remember which network it was on in 99 and 2019. I think if it was on
NBC,
they would not have done it and competed against.
Well, that's where that's the theory is. So the when they do these alternative halftime things, because like the famous one is the Lingerie Football League every year does that one.
Yeah.
And then the Puppy Bowl.
The Puppy Bowl was the other one.
Is also at the same time, right? They have a bunch of puppies run around and do that stuff. And it's also it's for the people that don't watch the halftime show. And the kind of the point is it since it's counter programming, it cost wise isn't the same as being on the network.
Yes.
Right? Like you're not on, because the Super Bowl also rotates networks, right? It's on CBS some years, ABC some years, NBC some years, and Fox some years.
It rotates. They're required to rotate it.
Yeah, they're required to move it around. And so I think that's like the theory. I don't know that it's necessarily worked, because as far as like long-term fame outside of the halftime heat, it's not really worked amazingly. I guess the LFL did start a league supposedly, but that's not, I don't know. That's for another time.
That's for another podcast.
Yeah, that's another one. But let's get into secondarily though, the commercials. The commercial. WWE had the commercial.
Yes, the one commercial.
Oh, did they?
Anthony.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Vince
it's-
McMahon on it. You want to break it down for us?
Chaos. Yeah, I should definitely recommend checking this out. I'm
Yeah,
sure
this'll
it's
crack you
easily
up, yes.
available on YouTube. It starts out with Austin walking through the WWE headquarters, and
the old one. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Recently.
And
Sorry,
they go-
apologies.
No.
Sorry.
And they go
Yeah, I've seen it.
through Titan Towers, and it's
Yeah.
like people fighting, it's people having sex in the
Yeah.
office. The place is on fire.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, and this to me, I always enjoyed, and rewatching it last night to refresh my memory for today. At one point, they're walking and somebody's getting thrown through a glass meeting room.
Yes.
And Kane just has his arm against the wall with a styrofoam cup of coffee. And at that time, he was in the full mask, the full red suit. He hadn't talked, or he might have had the voice box at that point. But I don't even think it was that, because it was 99. But like it's funny now, considering when you looked at him, like at that point, he's the monster just tearing through people.
Yeah.
And he's just chilling with a cup of coffee, against the wall. Foley is just like sitting there rocking back and forth while people are getting thrown over balconies. And it ultimately ends with somebody getting thrown out of a window of Titan Towers, and Vince is down there and he goes, "You get it?" It's like it's so ridiculous, but it encapsulates the Attitude Era so perfectly. And I remember at the time, I was like, "This is tremendous." And it's still, the funny part is the commercial holds up.
It does.
Because it embodies that period. I mean, Sable's walking through and saying, "We'll never use sexual exploitation to promote the company." Meanwhile, she's wearing something revealing, and there's people having sex all around her. It's
It's perfect.
great. It really is.
It really is.
It's clean, definitely. I even watched the behind the scenes of how that all came round,
yeah.
and it's I think it's still on WWE's channel, YouTube channel, and yeah, it's just fascinating how they obviously did like multiple takes and like this. It was I think for me that whole advert was like the true breaking the fourth wall or the forbidden wall in wrestling, because like you said, it was just it was an interesting insight in how certain people were out of their character, like you said, with Kane was, it's meant to be this unstoppable monster, but is there just chilling there, laying like with his hand on like this, just resting back, chilling. Austin still being Austin. I think he was talking. He was the one, the first one came into this.
He was walking and he hit somebody with a chair.
Exactly. So yeah, everyone was still kind of what they are on TV, but it was still like Taker and Kane were definitely the ones that stood out for sure.
They were in on the joke.
They're definitely in on it.
In on the joke. And I think, and I can't swear to it, I'm pretty sure they released an extended cut back then. Like I remember, the Super Bowl, or like one that, like a longer one, because obviously they were only allowed like 30 seconds for $1 million, whatever they paid.
Well, and by the way, Chaos, I think Chaos made an amazing point on the fourth wall thing.
Yeah.
I didn't even equate it in my head when he said that. I light bulbed it on. Think about the proximity to the Montreal screw job.
Yeah.
Of that commercial.
It was 2 years. It was
2 years
later.
2 years later.
Yeah.
18 months later, but it's still a little bit of a look. We got it right here, because it even goes back to the Athletic Commission stuff earlier in the 90s. It's another chip in where we are now, what we know wrestling as now, which I actually think is the right direction. We all watch television. We all watch movies. If we can't suspend disbelief for the storytelling and athleticism we see in professional wrestling, then who?
Tell that to every non-wrestler
that's what I mean,
right?
Right? Yeah, like really?
Clark,
Don't say predetermined, not the F word.
as far as pulling back the curtain, I think it was around the same time or a little before that, the Wrestling with Shadows on the Screwjob documentary came out.
Right.
And I think Beyond the Mat came out too.
Beyond the Mat was 99 as well.
Yeah, so all that stuff was revealing behind the scenes and all that other stuff. But I do love when non-fans go, well, how do you watch it? My favorite is,
how do you watch Star Wars? Have you ever seen a lightsaber?
You know that it's scripted. And I always turn around knowing whatever show that they watch. And I go, those two people aren't actually related on that show you watch, right? Like they're not actually married in real life. Everything is scripted. Like, I'm sorry. It's
Beverly Hills 90210 is still real to me, damn it.
That one is real to me, by the way. Yeah, no, that one in the OC. There's a few others. Desperate Housewives. I'm with you on those ones.
Great. Thanks, Clark. Now I can't get California out of my head. Thank you.
The Office is real. The Office is real.
The Office is real. X-Files definitely real. Yes,
definitely real. 100% real. I'm with you.
No one can tell me otherwise.
You can't. X-Files is a great call, by the way. Totally real. Yeah.
2.5
Men real. Charlie Sheen, Charlie Harper.
Yep.
Friends real. Jennifer Aniston absolutely went to a coffee shop every freaking day for 10 years in New York. There's no doubt she went to the same one too.
And that paid for that apartment in New York. Just on tips.
No, going to the coffee shop.
Yes. God, get over yourselves, people. God damn it.
What a move.
Anyway.
Great shows, though. We did list off a bunch of great shows.
100%.
We didn't mention Seinfeld,
no knock, by the way.
Which is the other iconic one.
All right, before we take this home, it's been such a fun show. We got to get the Super Bowl picks. I think me and Anthony's are obvious. I'm picking the Chiefs,
if you will.
Anthony, unless you're trying to...
No, you think I'm going to do a heel turn and change hats?
You're going to be like, actually, I'm a Chiefs guy. No, okay.
So pick up a shirt like,
I'm taking the Chiefs. I got the Eagles.
You know I would be killed here, right?
I forgot murder on YouTube.
You actually do have to live in Philadelphia.
Oh, damn.
You can't be picking against them. That is a great point. I didn't think of that.
No, this is a genuine question because I've never been to Philly. Like, do you guys get like heat? Like, does it get warm? Because every time it's been depicted on TV, it looks cold as hell. So
I mean, it's cold. It's cold now. I can tell you, actually, right now it's 57, but like it does get cold. I mean, not since the whole, Earth has made a turn, but
Christmas Eve get a summer.
It gets hot and sticky. It gets hot and sticky in the August.
Christmas Eve it was 6, but then a week later it was like 55. I don't know, but no, I mean
no, but in August it's humid.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Stick to yourself. Free shower weather. As I like to call it. You got to pack 3 outfits, dude. You're like sticking to your clothes and everything. It's gross. You could put on as much antiperspirant as you'd like.
That sounds like New York.
In multiple different locations.
Well, they're only like an hour and a half apart.
No more than fair enough.
Same geography there.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
No
but
doubt.
I mean, that's the thing that the Philly fans, it's passionate. But the funny part is, there are those that really go extreme. But, for the most part, it's anytime something happened, it immediately goes to, they threw batteries at Santa. Like, or whatever. It always goes to that, but they never talk about any of the positive stuff
Don't
that ever
give
happened.
them the full sell job, though, on Philly. Okay, Kansas City has great fans, too. We're like the loudest in football. It's going to be a big game. And not only that, they're 1-point favorites against us. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Chaos. We need the pick. Is it Kansas City and the Chiefs, or is it the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, to be fair, funny enough, before I got on here, I did do a little research and I followed this YouTube channel.
Don't get bribed by Clark's WrestleMania.
I'm not. No, I'm not. But obviously, I did my own research and whatnot, and I follow this guy that gives me is like he does these guides for clueless fans. It's not really clued up on who to support for Super Bowl and whatnot. And he obviously mentioned the pros and cons, especially for Philadelphia fans, as well as the Kaiser Chiefs and Kaiser Chiefs,
Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs.
Sorry, I don't know why Kaiser Chiefs in my head.
You're good. Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs, yeah. And I've noticed you guys got the pretty much one of the best quarterbacks right now. Can't remember his name.
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, yes. But also your for Eagles, you also got another guy. His name's Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Yeah. So I see. I've been researching. But
You're
yeah,
doing your research.
in terms of stats and whatnot, I think the edge might possibly go to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'd say. I think they probably might have the edge, but there is room for an upset. Don't get me wrong. That guy that you have, as well as some other people for on Eagles, I think you could also cause an upset. But
thanks, Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe Johnson, he's picking the Dirty Birds, but either way,
Hey,
let's go Chiefs.
So did Madden. They played the Madden simulation. That's
True.
where
All right,
Yeah,
boys.
fair
Well,
enough.
that's been an awesome show for today. Thank you, everybody, again for tuning in. It's gonna be sweet. We'll be back again tomorrow at a different time. We will let you know on that. But either way,
SmackDown, right?
yes. Like, subscribe, do all that. Thank you guys so much. On behalf of Wrestling Republic, the Daily Broadcast, Chaos, Anthony Clark signing off. Have a good one and enjoy the Super Bowl, my friends.
Let's go, Lieutenants.